What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy. Welcome back to the Savvy Show. And in today's episode, it looks like we have another proposal, but it looks kind of fishy. Doesn't look like the common proposal we'll see. And I'll tell you guys why. This is SCP-001 does not exist. So what leads me to believe it might not be like a regular proposal is maybe this video is about someone trying to debunk all the proposals, like they're all fake. Or there's a legit SCP that's called do not exist. Either one of those two, however, you know the best way to find out is to dive deep. And that's what we do best on this channel. So with that being said, if you guys do enjoy this reaction, please let me know by smashing that like button. Let's try to get 70 likes on this one. Let's get it done. 24 hours, let's try to get 70 likes. Let's see it. Let's see how strong the family is. And also remember, smash the sub button, join the family if you're not already part of it. I make content like this all the time for you guys. So if you guys enjoy my reaction style, you enjoy the topics I cover, this would be the best place to be to get your fix of that savvy heat. Now, without all the way, without any further ado, let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-001 does not exist. Let's go.
Congratulations. You did it. After years of working your fingers to the bone at the legendary SCP Foundation, putting your life, sanity, and perhaps even immortal soul at risk every single day, you suddenly find yourself standing at the very tip of the pyramid. You can now learn about the truth behind SCP-001. You'd be lying if you said it was an easy journey. You started about one rung above D-Class, a mere janitor, mopping hallways and cleaning toilets for personnel who actually got a piece of the action. Not that it meant you didn't have to experience risk on the job. You remembered one of the most terrifying moments of your life occurred during this period, back when you were just cleaning out office space in Site-19. You heard the door rattle behind you, and you rose back up just in time to see SCP-173 standing in the doorway, staring at you. You heard about this thing, about how you had to keep your eyes on it, or it would kill you, and then everything else. You stared at it, eyes watering in panic, hoping to keep it rooted in place, but it was starting to hurt. You could feel yourself straining. The surface of your eyes was so dry. Was this where you were going to die? Perhaps if you hadn't had the idea you had next. You blinked one eye, and then the other, keeping one eye open at all times.
Did he train to do that? Because I don't think I could do that.
Kept the sculpture in place long enough for the site security team to locate it and drag it back to containment. You'd saved your own life and many others that day, and decided in that moment that you may really have a future here.
For real, if you survive that, that's some good karma coming your way, because most people, they're not as lucky.
Only one with this level of confidence. Hearing about your quick thinking and heroic bravery, the head of the site security team decided you might be an ideal candidate for his crew after the proper training. You jumped at the chance, of course, to experience the grueling barrage of physical and mental courses needed to survive and thrive under the pressure of being a dedicated Foundation guard. Before long, you became an accepted member of the security team, and you'd go on to receive further commendations for your cool-headedness and bravery during dangerous containment breaches. From SCP-3199, SCP-106, and SCP-939 respectively, you were quickly turning into a respected figure among your Foundation peers. While some would be content to coast on that, you'd never been the kind of person who just rests on their laurels. By day, you worked to keep Site-19 safe from deadly containment breaches and infiltration from crafty groups of interest like the Chaos Insurgency and the Serpent's Hand. But by night, you were taking online college courses, slowly beefing up your qualifications in a number of esoteric research sciences.
Join the council or something?
After years of hard work, you requested a transfer from senior security officer to junior researcher. It'd be a step backwards in terms of career advancement, and you were also told you'd be getting a pay cut for your trouble. But you didn't care. You'd even start with archival work if it meant getting closer to the actual anomalies the Foundation was all about. So that...
I know the security guards would be making more than researchers. But he was a senior security guard, so maybe that's why their pay grade was going lower. Like, on average, I thought researchers would make more.
That's exactly what happened. You were made a junior researcher, and your first job was archival duties. Sorting and digitizing years of files with a new computerized system.
Actually, that would make sense, though. I'm sorry. Because if you're actually working in security, 9 times out of 10, your life is in more danger than a researcher. So that would make sense.
For some, this would be hell. For you, it's heaven. you're getting to see it all up close. The deepest, darkest secrets of the SCP Foundation. Well, not quite. At your low clearance level, there's only a certain amount you're able to access, even when filing things away. Stumbling into the wrong files and attempting to access them can be actively dangerous too, as many of them are protected with the kind of heavy-duty mimetic kill agents that'd stop your heart before you'd even have a chance to click away.
Oh my god.
But funnily enough, that level of protection only made the forbidden fruit of knowledge seem more enticing. And the very peak of curiosities, locked under so many layers of secrecy and encryption, was the equal parts iconic and infamous SCP-001.
Okay.
Some senior researchers had spread rumors about the true nature of 001, but nobody truly had the full scope of it outside of the O5 Council.
So I guess in this universe of the story, since there's no specific canon, there's one proposal, which we don't know yet. I'm assuming it might be what we're actually watching, but who knows?
For pretty much everyone else, the true answers would be forever out of reach, like a distant but enrapturing mirage. And it was at that moment that you decided you'd simply have to become a member of the O5 Council. And for the rest of your life, that's exactly what you were trying to work towards. After all, rumor has it that the Council has access to secret life-extending anomalies that they use to linger around for centuries. A single meager lifetime working toward a seat at that table would be such a small price to pay when all was said and done. For the next few decades, you did everything you could to advance your position and climb through the ranks of this prestigious organization. You published award-winning research papers on the nature of thaumatology.
Wow.
You worked multiple 18-hour shifts a week, getting up close and personal with some of the most famous and dangerous anomalies on the books. SCP-106, SCP-096, and even SCP-682. You showed bravery and heroism during containment breaches, staying calm and keeping the people around you out of harm's way. And as you rise through the ranks, you always kept your goal in mind. You'll uncover the secrets of SCP-001. You have to know. You will know. There is no other acceptable outcome. While technically speaking, 001 is above classified, the SCP Foundation is an organization run by humans. Mostly anyway. And when humans are involved, nothing will ever be infallible. And after all, there's no such thing as a perfect seal. When you're rubbing elbows with Dr. Gears, Dr. Clef, and Dr. Bright, it's natural that some things start to slip out in conversation, even if, strictly speaking, it's in defiance of official Foundation protocol. But something strikes you as very strange. As each one tells you about their vision of SCP-001, you notice that each is describing a completely different thing. Dr. Clef, for example, begins covertly telling you about something known as the Gate Guardian, also known by the alias Uriel. This being is said to act as the bouncer at the door to paradise.
So in this file, there's multiple SCP-001s that exist simultaneously. What?
He's impossibly huge, with wings made of burning light, and a sword of pure fire.
Interesting that he would know this one.
Clef tells you that the creature's sword is so powerful that it cleaves its victims apart on the atomic level, completely and utterly destroying every trace of them. Though he then grumbles with visible frustration that it failed in its attempts to kill SCP-682, adding, "No surprises there, right?" as he left to have a smoke. Dr. Bright tells you an incredibly different story. To him, SCP-001 isn't a being. It's a location, an expansive factory from the 19th century that was created by pure evil occultist and industrialist James Anderson. This place initially seemed like a boon, providing jobs to the needy travelers and transients across the early United States. But this dream come true soon revealed itself to be a complete nightmare. Anderson was a brutal taskmaster who not only worked thousands of people to death, but performed horrifying occult experiments on the grounds of the cursed building. You started to worry that perhaps Dr. Bright had a little too much to drink when he started ranting about how the factory helped a burgeoning SCP Foundation commit genocide against the Fae, but you were happy to receive more information about SCP-001 in any case.
Yep.
And Dr. Gears
What was
told
the
a
factory?
far more low-key story than
this
the
one.
other two, which was fitting, really, for a man so incredibly buttoned down he probably thought of Lucky Charm marshmallows as an almost unspeakable act of self-indulgence.
Dang, why is this boy roasting him like that? Oh my god, narrator. Relax, man. He got me out low-key, but now you're going in.
He told the story of a being he referred to as the Prototype,
Ooh.
a dangerous and radioactive monster that functioned as the first truly threatening creature that the SCP Foundation ever faced.
I'm glad they covered this one, because this was probably up there for one of my favorite proposals. Just how the story flows, because the researcher that was on the team trying to get this proposal, his name was Keter, and that started the Keter class SCP. So that was actually kind of cool because it entwined with other SCPs in other universes. All the other proposals, they are kind of cool, but like they didn't really flow as well, I think, in my own opinion. A few other ones, but they're not coming to mind. It feels like just offhand stuff.
Containing it with imperfect methods even led to the death of Dr. Keter, which in turn led to the naming of the Keter class for any anomalies that were particularly challenging to contain. You were awash with data, and yet it somehow felt like you now knew less for sure. Was SCP-001 some kind of umbrella term for a vast collection of different anomalies?
Yeah.
Each one either deeply important or somehow formative for the SCP Foundation. Curiouser and curiouser. Naturally, this did nothing to deter your boundless drive to know the true secrets of this mysterious designation that seemed to exist at the very heart
gun right
of the
next to
SCP Foundation.
Am I supposed to read those
Years
files?
went on, and you went from a decorated senior researcher to the site director for Site-19. There, through even more years of hard work, you developed a reputation as one of the greatest directors the site ever had.
Dang.
You reduced containment breaches by a truly astonishing 80% during your tenure, and the breaches that did happen were significantly less deadly under your sterling management. General personnel satisfaction skyrocketed, with the people working under you both enjoying your leadership and respecting you enough to take you seriously.
That's crazy. He worked his way up from a freaking janitor. That's impressive, man.
Firm but fair. A truly exemplary site director. The more you climbed, the more information about SCP-001 seemed to fall into your lap. The sheer breadth of some of these concepts were staggering. The Scarlet King, the Black Moon, the Lock, the Broken God. A whole laundry list of terrifying existential threats hiding just under the thin crust of normalcy. Just how much were they hiding from you? Were they all real? Was only one real? And the rest an elaborate smokescreen? You just had to know. But even if it took your whole life? A 40-year career with the SCP Foundation, putting everything at hazard for a chance to gaze into the ultimate chest of secrets. And eventually, with the mysterious passing of a previous member of the O5 Council, which as far as anyone else knows you had nothing to do with, the position of O5-10 has opened up. And who else is next in line to that throne but you?
Dang.
Congratulations.
He really worked his way up.
You made it to the next step, the big boys table. And the truth about SCP-001 comes with the territory. You're given an orientation document written by a prior O5 Council member known as L.H. Sign from the Korean branch of the Foundation. It promises that after you put in your new O5 login credentials, it'll tell you everything you need to know about SCP-001. With quaking fingers, you type in your username and password, and the page opens, revealing the truth about SCP-001 to your eager eyes. Your jaw drops. Your forehead is suddenly doused in a sheen of cold sweat. No, you think, this has to be a joke. It can't be true. Your life, your whole life building up to learning, SCP-001 does not exist. The document, in upsettingly plain terms, explains to you that while some of the anomalies referred to as SCP-001 do exist in some capacity, the closest, funnily enough, being Dr. Gear's story about the prototype. For the most part, there is no such thing as 001, and the finer details are either entirely fabricated or, at the very least, greatly exaggerated. Everything you've been working towards. It was just one big fraud perpetrated by the Foundation. Why? You found yourself asking in a trembling voice. Why? Why would they lie about it? And the answer was simple. To provoke the egos of the Foundation's personnel. You see, while the Foundation has always contained anomalies, that was a means to an end, not the end itself. The true purpose of the Foundation is and always has been protecting people, and every anomaly contained is more people protected. However, tricking the lower rungs of the Foundation into believing that there's some grand final boss to work towards, like a Black Moon or a Scarlet King, has been an effective method of keeping everyone motivated to swim in the same direction.
Wow.
This is hardly an unprecedented move for the SCP Foundation. From their lies around Procedure 110 Montauk, to the controlled deception around the rituals that supposedly keep the Devourer of Worlds on the other side of SCP-2317,
That is
the
crazy.
SCP Foundation has never shed away from lying to its own employees for the greater good. But you never expected it to happen to you, and you certainly never expected it to be about SCP-001. You feel like you've been laughed at for your entire life, but now you crack a quivering smile. Maybe your mind has snapped. Or maybe you're just glad to finally be in on the joke. Now go check out SCP-00.
If anything, I enjoyed that story a lot. Seeing him just work his way up from a janitor to a O5 council member, that was pretty crazy. That was actually cool. And the concept of it being fake, it does kind of make sense a little key because there's so many of them. And I'm sure there's like different sites. Well, I'm not sure. There is different sites around the world. And I'm sure each site has their own story and their own origins along what is the proposal, what's the true SCP-001. Man, wow, that was really cool. That was really a clever way to go about all the proposals. I like that a lot, man. If you guys enjoyed that reaction, please let me know by smashing that like button and let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought about this proposal. If I could even call it one. It literally just seems like the truth of all the proposals, not an proposal itself, but it's its own story, which means it's its own proposal within this said universe. So with that being said, there's nothing left to be said. Remember, smash that sub button if you're already part of the family, and remember, hit that bell so you don't miss an upload. And unfortunately, that concludes today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one.